Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. And those were pretty amazing kids, right? Pretty amazing. Let's see if we all can do like that. I'd like to talk to you today about why art matters. The other day, I was visiting a school a little bit to the west of this state, the Midwest, and it was a school that was being turned around by the arts. That term, turned around, is new to our language now. It refers to schools that are considered failing schools, and we are turning them around through an intervention. I've visited a lot of these kinds of schools in my work, but this school was being turned around by the arts. I was so excited. I walked into the school, and everywhere on the walls was brown paper. You know that kind of brown paper that you see in the art rooms that comes out of those rolls? Can you picture that? That kind of brown paper? Everywhere. In teachers' offices, all over the classroom walls, everywhere. And I was so excited, and I said, great, give me the paintbrush, give me the pen. I want to contribute to this whole school mural. Because of course I thought that's what was going on in this school that was being turned around by the arts. My colleague looked at me like I had 7 heads, and she said, Linda, what are you talking about, murals? We are in high-stakes testing season, and we are mandated to cover all of the print material in this school to avoid cheating. And I thought, what world have I entered where a teacher's diploma has to be covered because a child might cheat on a test? This school, 99% free and reduced lunch. That means children living under the poverty line. 99% kids who speak English as a second language. They were meant to be turned around through the arts. All the arts classes had been canceled. I met with the arts teachers who were preparing for their mid-year, or almost, it was sort of almost end-of-year arts festival. All rehearsals had been canceled because we were in high-stakes testing season. Those kids are being tested 40 out of 180 days of a school year. Something has gone wrong. I began teaching in the Boston public schools in the aftermath of court-ordered desegregation. I began as a math teacher in the bilingual department, and I would send my students out into gym or recess or lunch, and they would come back with bloody noses or bruises. I sat in on more suspension hearings than I did meetings with parents about homework or other things that we would want kids and families to be engaged with. This was supposed to be a time of racial healing. It was a frightening time in this city, a frightening time to see the lack of understanding between races, between classes, between people. I decided, along with some of my colleagues, that one way to combat the mistrust, the prejudice, and the hatred was through the arts. I began an after-school theater program where I would teach my students, all bilingual Latino students, the dances, the history of their culture. This is a very old photo, as I'm sure some of you in the room might actually recognize that show that we did back in the late 70s. Pretty soon, in the auditorium of that middle school, I had other students knocking on the doors to get in to my after-school theater program. African American kids, white kids, even our deaf kids. And before I knew it, I had an after-school theater program that was actually creating a place of belonging for all of the students in the school. We did a show that I wrote about people going back in time to meet important historical and cultural figures that would represent important times from my students' history. They met in the play Raymond Betances, Benjamin Banneker, Mother Jones, and Toussaint Louverture. So if you have any sense of that lineup, you know something about my politics. And their opening night in the front row was my principal, flanked by 2 school committee members. In those days, in Boston, you didn't put on a show without the approval of the school committee. And I hadn't talked too much about what the show was really about and who was going to be on stage. And I heard my principal say, he had a real Boston brogue, I won't do it justice, something to the school committee members to the effect of, don't worry, I know she's a communist, but it really doesn't matter because suspension rates have gone way down and you know, all the kids are getting along now, so it's all right, don't worry. Was that all right? So what I learned early in my career is that theater could bring young people together across prejudice, across mistrust, across language, to put on a great show. In 1998, I had the privilege of starting the Boston Arts Academy, and it is one of my proudest moments. And this is a school, as you've seen, that puts the arts at the very center of the curriculum. We knew that we could create a school that students could engage through long periods of time and where we would teach the skills of collaboration, being in an ensemble. When you sing in another person's language, when you tell the story through song of another person's experience, you are creating something with the audience that is absolutely unmeasurable, certainly cannot be measured on a standardized test. We are teaching kids to persist over long periods of time, sometimes on their own. These are the skills that we say are the 21st century skills for our young people. We are teaching, as you've just seen today, kids to collaborate, to perform at a high level of aesthetics. And we're also teaching kids to practice and to care about something that may be beyond them. I want to tell you the story of Raul here. Raul is a drummer. Raul came to the Boston Arts Academy, average student, but one of the things that students at the Arts Academy have to do in order to graduate is a senior project. This is a project where they have to take a community issue, something that they care deeply about, and bring their artistic and academic skills to bear on that issue, to truly make a difference about something in their community. Raul, no surprise, chose drumming. Students present their projects in front of a panel of judges, and he was asked, why drumming? And Raul explained that for him, drumming comes from the heart. Drumming is where he is completely honest and true to himself. But the next question was, your project, Raul, is about working with homeless men and teaching them to drum so that they can give back to a homeless shelter. Where's your connection with that? Raul looked down. He's not a very outspoken young man. He looked up again and he said, my uncle was my first drum teacher. My uncle is homeless. I want to do something for my uncle. And he did. As a senior in high school, as a young man, he was given the chance to create a project that mattered deeply to him, that showed his passion, that showed how he could make an impact on society. Now, granted, did he change homelessness in this city? No. But did he raise some money for that shelter? Yes. Could I stand here and say that his uncle is out of the shelter? No. But I can say, because I talked to him the other day, that he is still in school, in college, still working on his drumming, studying sociology, because he will make a difference in homelessness in this city. So what I want to say to you, by way of wrapping up, is the arts are critical to how we engage not just adults, but all young people. The arts are critical if we want to change our schools. The arts are the key ingredient, I would argue, for making this world a better place. One day, recently, a young girl said to me, I asked, why did you want to come to our school? And she said, what? School? Without the arts? It isn't school. She said, art matters. Thank you.